Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining for another community conversation. I'm Pearl Thompson, one of the co-presidents for Mental Health Society of Greater Victoria. As everybody knows, during this time of lockdown, addictive behaviors and mental crises can become more common. Today, I'm talking with Ken and Andy, who are two members of Alcoholics Anonymous in Victoria. These, these men are members of Alcoholics Anonymous and have asked that we use this screen to preserve their anonymity, which is a key part of AA work. So with that, we'll jump right into it. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Oh, Pearl, thank you for giving us the opportunity to share what we regard as a key message of hope for people who are having trouble.
Yeah, we are really grateful and really excited to get this going. So just to start, can you just tell us a little bit about what AA is?
Sure, AA, which is our how we refer to Alcoholics Anonymous, it's an organization, but we really think of ourselves as a fellowship. And it's men and women of all ages and classes and colors and creeds. Our disease, alcoholism, cuts across the spectrum of society. You come to meetings and you'll find all sorts. Many would who you would not expect to be socializing and gathering together. Of course, our gatherings today are online. But the key to our fellowship is all of us have a desire to stop drinking, usually because we've got a problem with drinking. And if we haven't recognized it, someone very close to us has usually recognized it and confronted us with it. So we work to keep each other sober. We share our experiences with not drinking. How did we do it? We share our sources of strength and how did we find the power not just to stop, but to stay stopped. And most importantly, we share our hope for a sober life. Mainly, we fellowship to carry the message of how we stop and stayed stopped. So yes, it's key. There are other solutions to alcoholism, but this one works, and it's absolutely no cost. It's completely free and available to anyone. So that's a bit about AA and what we do.
Thanks so much. That's a really thorough introduction. As you said, Alcoholics Anonymous. So I just wanted to ask why anonymous. Can you elaborate a little bit on that point?
Yeah, yeah, it's half our name, isn't it? Alcoholics
Mm-hmm.
Anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
There's a prejudice against people who are alcoholics. The stereotype is somebody under a bridge with a brown paper bag. That's not the case when you come to our meetings. You'll find people who are dressed in suits and ties and look very smart. You'll see guys with Carhartt construction jerseys. You'll see all sorts. But because of this prejudice, we want anyone who comes to us for help to know that they'll be absolutely safe, completely safe. Years ago, I knew a prominent politician in another province. He had a drinking problem, and the court mandated that he attend meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. And he came to our meeting. And with him were his communications advisors because they were absolutely sure that the next morning they were going to face a headline, so and so seen at AA meeting. But you know
Mm-hmm.
what? Nothing was said. Absolute radio silence.
Mm.
As prominent and as well known as he was, everyone just kept it quiet. Nobody said a thing. And that is what people will find. They come to us, they can be absolutely confident it goes no further.
Wow, thanks
So
for
that's
sharing that
why
story.
yeah, well, it's important that people know that they come to us for help and not, uh, as the expression goes, be outed. So yeah, anonymity is a difficult word to say, but it's very important for us. Thank
Definitely.
you, Pearl.
Yeah, thank you. Can you tell us a bit about the history of AA?
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah. We started in 1935. This is our 85th year of operation. We began in Akron, Ohio. We now have millions of members, and it is worldwide. Our basic text, the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, is, I think, translated, last count was 116 languages. We're headquartered in New York, but we're very much a local organization. We have a central office here in Victoria. Uh, we started here in Victoria in the 50s, and now we have hundreds of meetings in the Greater Victoria area, all time of the day and night. And people we'll get into that in a bit, but we're all mainly online, but still some face-to-face meetings. Thanks.
Sounds like a very interesting history, and it sounds like you have expanded a lot over the years. So that's really good to know. Can you tell us more about what you do and what your services really look like?
Sure, be happy to, Pearl. You know, it may sound funny. We talk. We talk a lot and we listen. And we listen a lot. We share together, we laugh together, sometimes we cry together. We're searching together for the power in the rooms that allows us to stop drinking and stay stopped. We share our experience, strength, and hope, and learn from each other, support each other. So we listen a lot, we talk a lot, and we keep in touch. And so it's a very social group. Not that you have to be an extrovert. Many of us are introverts and very, very quiet and shy, but we all hang together. Yeah, that's what we do.
Wow, sounds like a really great supportive community to be part of.
It
Um,
really is, Pearl. Yeah.
Great. So, as we all know, during this time with the pandemic, we're facing unprecedented levels of isolation in this time of lockdown. So, do you feel like do you think there's more alcoholism during this time of lockdown?
Yeah, great question, Pearl, because these are difficult times, not just isolation, but anxiety, job losses, and debts piling up while you're not working. It's tough times, very tough times. Is there more alcoholism? Not sure about that, but I'm darn sure more is being revealed. You know, a fellow who married and used to go out to the bar every night and drink, now he's at home every night drinking.
Right.
Um, Periodic rounds of drinking suddenly become more problematic in close proximity to others. Yeah, so the disease is often revealed in times of stress, and by God, these are times of stress. So yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more demand, if you will, for our services. That's unfortunate, but it is a reality.
Definitely. Well, and in these times of increased demand, with the Mental Health Society of Greater Victoria, we try to extend extra gratitude and really recognize those services that are helping people. So thanks so much for everything that you do.
And good for you for what you're doing, Pearl. It's just magnificent work. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So Ken, we have a few other questions for you. Just to start, what can someone do if they think they have a problem with drinking?
Well, our recommendation would be try out a meeting. Um, there are two types of meetings. The two types are designated on the AA website, in the apps, and in the meeting directories as open or closed. Open meetings are available to anyone who wants to attend, be they an alcoholic or simply an interested party. Closed meetings are limited to people who have a desire to stop drinking. The preamble for those meetings explicitly states, if you think you have a problem with alcohol, you're welcome to attend the meeting. So if somebody isn't sure and they think they have a problem, they are absolutely welcome to attend. Um, that is the only requirement for membership, is a desire to stop drinking. So uh, try out a meeting, see if it works for you. My first meeting worked for me because I started to hear my story. I heard what I was going through from the mouths of other people, and I suddenly didn't feel so alone.
Definitely. And what would you suggest for somebody who knows someone else who might have a problem?
Right. Well, nobody can declare another person to be an alcoholic. That's a self-assessment. You can be quite certain somebody has a problem, but to actually say you're an alcoholic doesn't really fly. There are support groups available to family members of AA, including Al-Anon and adult children of alcoholics. But family members who are interested in learning about the program can attend one of those open meetings that we have free literature that addresses the problem and the possibility that a family may have a drinking problem. The pamphlets could provide a good starting point for discussion. There's also the facility for a 12-step call, at least when self-isolation isn't the social norm and we're allowed to be around each other. By placing a phone call to the AA Central Office, volunteer or volunteers can be sent to lend a hand in support of somebody who's in need.
Great, thanks for breaking that down for us. Andy touched on a little bit about this period of lockdown and what it means for people who struggle with addiction and issues with drinking. So if we're talking about relapse, would you say that relapse is a greater problem today?
There is probably a greater risk of relapse today, certainly in the sense of the current pandemic. People feel isolated, they feel cut off. As Andy said, they also feel anxious. There are a couple of in-person AA meetings, for the most part, they are now online. And I believe it has been my experience that a lot of people struggle with staying committed to those, with getting what they need out of those meetings. So there certainly are challenges in this time. But the online meetings are there, and the hope is that they will provide some measure of support during this time of uncertainty when to be together in person simply isn't possible.
Definitely. So it's a really good thing that you guys have that, or that AA has that measure in place to adapt to these times. What would you say someone can do to avoid relapse?
Continue to do the work. Attend meetings online, stay connected, get a sponsor or talk to the sponsor that you have. It's the same thing that I would tell somebody in any other time. To avoid a relapse, just do the work. One foot in front of the other, one day at a time. Don't get too ahead of yourself.
Great, those are really good suggestions. Before we wind up, do you have any tips for people who are isolating right now?
Much like the the steps to avoid relapse, I would stay proactively connected. Reach out to people, not just other alcoholics, but the people in your life. Stay connected to people, even if you physically aren't near them. It's always nice to receive a text message from someone saying, "Hey, I was thinking of you," or ask how others are doing. It's pretty amazing when you reach out to others and ask about or think about other people. Suddenly, you don't feel so alone yourself. So that would be my number one recommendation.
That's a really good recommendation. I think that theme extends, beyond alcoholism and beyond addiction. And I think it's a really important thing for everybody to carry with them as they're trying to connect with others during this time.
That is so true, Pearl, so true. And if we could, as we wind up, if somebody's listened to this interview all the way through, getting in touch with AA, Ken mentioned there's an app called Meeting Guide. It's a free app. It's a wonderful app that will guide you to meetings. And we have a Victoria website, aavictoria.ca. It's a good, fluent website. You'll find it easy to use. And we have a phone service, 250-383-0415.
Great, thank you. Thanks so much for
Well
joining
done,
me.
Pearl. Good. Yeah, great interview. You're a good interviewer.
Thank you. Thank you so
Mind you,
much.
you had some outstanding talent to work with.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you saying that.
And Ken had a 3:30 appointment, and you brought it in on time. This is terrific.
Well, I'm glad. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Pearl, thanks again, and thanks again for what you're doing with BC Mental. This is a great deal. It's really good.
I appreciate
Thank
you
you both.
saying that. Keep on doing what you're doing out there.
You too.
Okay, be well.